Are you trying to establish your brand as a thought leader? Start a podcast, invite industry experts to be guests on your show, and watch your brand become the prime resource for decision makers in your industry. Learn more at sweetfishmedia.com.
You're listening to the B2B Growth Show, a podcast dedicated to helping B2B executives achieve explosive growth. Whether you're looking for techniques and strategies or tools and resources, you've come to the right place. I'm Jonathan Green.
And I'm James Carberry.
Let's get into the show.
Welcome back to the B2B Growth Show. We are here today with George Thomas. He is the inbound Jedi at the Sales Lion, aka he's an inbound and brand strategist. And so, George, I love the job title. I love what you guys are doing at the Sales Lion. Could you tell our audience, for those that aren't familiar with the Sales Lion, just a little bit about what you and your team are up to over there?
Yeah, James, thanks, first of all, for having me on here. And it's funny because the inbound Jedi came by way of needing to let people know immediately I'm the resident nerd over at the Sales Line. So at the Sales Line, we do a couple things. We do consulting work for businesses who want to learn how to do content marketing and use a tool called HubSpot for their email marketing and lead generation and all that fun marketing automation stuff. We also go out and do workshops. So I do CRM implementation workshops, HubSpot intensive workshops. We do video workshops, and then both of us, Marcus Sheridan and myself, while the rest of the team is holding it down, we go out and speak as well. So that's kind of a general overall of where you might find us and what you might find us doing.
I love it. I'm not super familiar with Marcus Sheridan's story, but he had a pool company and basically used inbound marketing to take his company that was doing not so well and basically turned the entire thing around. Is that right?
Well, if you remember back, what feels like many moons ago, when the market crashed, and he was part owner in a pool company called River Pools and Spas. The crash happened. Anybody who had equity in their house no longer had that, and they had pools canceling over and over and over again to the point where they were going to go. Everybody said just, hey, file bankruptcy and close the doors. But Marcus at that point stumbled into HubSpot and inbound marketing, started blogging, creating content, really took this idea of becoming the Wikipedia of your space, and then came up with two major philosophies that we still teach to this day. And one is actually a book that has been released recently. One is They Ask, You Answer, meaning if your customers ask a question, you answer it on your blog, you answer it in video, you answer it in podcast. However you can answer it, you answer it. And then we also teach what's called the Big Five, because Marcus was able to identify the 5 ways that people search right before they're thinking about pulling the trigger on actually purchasing. So instead of creating all this fluffy top of the funnel content, we are able to teach our clients the things that truly move the needle when it comes to revenue. So that's kind of Marcus in a nutshell.
I love it. So I want to jump into what we're going to be talking about today, George, which is video. You guys are crushing it over there with video. And as you and I were talking about this offline, I mentioned that the first thing that you would want our listeners to understand about video is that anybody can do it. I know that just by looking at it for our own brand, it is daunting to go, oh man, I know I need to be doing it, but it just seems super complicated. Man, do I need a lot of editing? Do I need to bring on somebody just to edit video? So talk to me about this idea that anybody can do it.
Yeah, and there's a couple levels of anybody can do it, and you hit a couple of them. One is the gear, right? Immediately you're like, oh my gosh, I got to buy $1,000 worth of gear, and I just don't have the budget for that. And people don't realize that you can use your cell phone and some bolt-ons and some tripods and some lights, especially if you have like a phone that's shooting at 4K, and you can at least get the footage and then get it into a system where you can edit it. There again, you run into another problem where people say, oh my gosh, the editing is going to be super complex. I probably have to download Adobe, which costs money, and then I've got to get in there. But there are some simple places online, like look at Animoto or something like that, where you can actually go and edit kind of images into video or video clips into a longer video. And so you can find the simplified version. And then there's the third piece of this, James, where people go, I got a face for radio. And then that's just baloney, because what you are doing is you're putting hurdles in front of yourself. And trust me, there's enough people out there that will put hurdles in front of you. You don't need to do it to yourself. And so we have been able to watch people when we go out and do these video workshops at the sales line. We've been able to watch people who you thought they were going to pass out when you said, hey, we're going to go ahead and do a minute or 2 minute video. We're going to have you talk about this thing that you sell all day long. And by the second or third take of that video, they were pros, because there's certain philosophies that we're able to kind of inject in there that once they grab a hold of those, they're off to the races.
I love it. So this next piece, as we were talking through it before we started recording, George, you said that folks need to be leveraging modern technology. You alluded to a little bit of that, even just in referencing the fact that we've got phones in our pocket that shoot 4K. Talk to us about some of the other modern technology that people should be looking out for and really leveraging whenever they go to embrace video.
Yeah, definitely. So let's just start with social channels first, right? If you think video, immediately you think, oh, I've got to create this, minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, highly produced video. No. You can get into video by replying to somebody on Twitter with video. You can get into video by hopping on Snapchat and just testing out a platform and doing that. You could even, and it doesn't exist anymore, but something like Blab or Zoom or whatever, any type of technology that you can put your fingers around, hands on, whatever you want to say, and get in front of video just so you get used to it. Look, one of the funniest things to me is when I actually leave a comment in Facebook and it's a video comment versus just a textual comment, people freak out.
Yeah.
And here's really the piece I want to get to is right now. Now, I don't know if in 6 months this is going to be the same thing, in 3 months, in 3 days, but right now, Facebook Live is a jam. Like, that is something that everybody in business should be doing. And there's technologies that you can get. And I'm going to name one. It's ECAM, that's ECAMM Live, that will allow you to do things that when people see it, they're like, oh my gosh, how are they doing that on a Facebook Live? Because you can share your desktop, you can play another video, you can do, image and text overlays. It really adds a lot of production value for like $30, and you're blowing people's mind. And then you get people who will be like, wow, bro, you're killing it with video. And you're like, I got this tool that makes me look good.
That's awesome. We're using ECAM right now to record this podcast. I didn't know they had a live product, so that's super.
Yeah. So let me just explain so we don't confuse listeners. There is what we're using now, which is Skype call recorder, which ECAM puts out. But if you go to the same company and you just search for ECAM Live, it is another software that you can then go and do Facebook Lives with it. It's super cool. You can see comments right on the screen. You can see how many people are in your live. You can see how long you've been doing your live. It's really, really slick product. And what they've talked about, and they've said this, so I know I'm not breaking any like confidentiality things. They've done a Facebook Live themselves on this, is they're talking about, James, here in the near future, taking Skype call recorder and actually potentially merging it with ECAM Live to where you could do split screen video and then be able to record an HD version of your Facebook Live.
That would be incredible.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, so George, this next piece that we want to talk about is getting your team involved in the video that you're putting out. What do you mean when you talk about that?
Yeah, so a lot of times what you'll do is you'll go into a business, when we go into a business, and they'll be like, oh, Jeff's our video guy. He's going to be in front of the camera. He's like an ex-supermodel and used to be a preacher on the side, so he's used to be in front of people. And you're like, oh, what? No. Everybody needs to get in front of the camera. And what especially sales reps, but even C-level and marketers need to realize is that 70% of the buyer's journey is done before they ever contact you, before they ever go to your contact form or pick up the phone. And so the reason you should be sitting here listening to this and going, man, I need to do video yesterday, is because when they finally do pick up the phone, when they finally do hit that contact us form, you want them to ask for Steve or Bob or Jim, because all of this game that we're playing on the internet is about adding value and gaining trust.
Yeah.
And if all the value and trust is going to a brand logo, then the sales process is still hardest when you finally do get that call versus them already loving you. Marcus, going back to the kind of opening story, he realized when he started this kind of inbound thing and when he started using video at the pool company is that instead of, hey, the pool guy is here, when he would knock on the door, he would hear kids say, hey, mommy, daddy, Marcus is here. And that for a sales guy is a game changer.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. And so, do you have any thoughts, George, on how, people need to get their team involved? Is that, kind of a round robin? How have you seen your clients do that? Is it, hey, Sally, you get Mondays, Frank, you get Tuesdays? Do they build segments around specific employees? Have you seen any creative executions of how people are getting their team involved with this?
Yep, seen a couple of different things. First of all, usually there's a catalyst moment, some type of workshop. They can either do it themselves. A lot of folks will have us come in and do it. But after that, I've seen where it's just an editorial calendar that they're going through this matrix that we help them with, and they define who the thought leader is for that item. We're not all experts in the orange widget, and we're not all experts in the green widget. And so if you're Bob and the green widget is your GM, you're going to do videos on those. If the orange widget and you're Betty, you're going to do those. And so sometimes they'll just block out an editorial calendar on who is the thought leader to that piece or product or service. The other thing is they'll just say, kind of like you did, hey, you've got 4 that you're going to do this month. Let's pick the days that you're going to do them. You've got 3 that you're going to do this month. What are the days that you're going to do them? And so it's kind of just a number base. But the smart people in the room are like, hey, how can I get more? How can I do more? And those are the people that you want to define too. Because I'm not going to sit here and say, I will say, everybody should be doing it, but I'll tell you, James, not everybody will do it.
Yeah.
Right? And so you've got to kind of have this catalyst moment, try to get everybody to play in the playground, but realize the kids that want to take their toys and go home, that's fine. They might be able to help with script writing. They might be able to help with writing blog articles. They might even be super awesome at podcasts, but at first, at least try to get everybody to play so that you can see, hey, you're really good at this, or maybe not.
Yeah. You've mentioned a couple of times now, all of your salespeople should be doing it. I use a tool, and our sales team uses a tool called Viewed It by Vidyard. It's a free tool that essentially allows you to right from your browser, just shoot quick little videos and drop them into your emails, and then it shows a little thumbnail of the video. I think it even kind of turns it into a little GIF inside the email. So tools like that. We've had Ethan Butte from Bomb on our show. That's another great product. So instead of kind of forcing your salespeople to fit into your editorial calendar and say, hey, I want, of the, 12 pieces of content that we do this month, I want to do 4 of those. Instead, empowering them with, like what we alluded to earlier, that modern technology tools like, Viewed It and Bomb, to say, hey, I'm equipping you with the resource. Go ahead, go nuts. Use this in your sales conversation.
I'm so glad you brought that up because, again, when we talk about this, it's so easy to slip into those, hey, let's produce a video versus here's a set of tools. I like that you mentioned Viewed It. I actually use a tool called Loom, which is very similar to Viewed It, but it'll, when you can't explain something simply in an email, or you realize you're a sales guy or a marketer and you're sitting there, you're like, man, I could explain this in 2 minutes, but it's going to take me 20 minutes to write the email. To be able to fire up something like Viewed It or Loom or Bomb and just do the video and then push it out in an email, you're saving yourself time so you can go golf more.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I love it. After one of our recent events that we virtual summit that we did, the offer on the back end of it was our service, this done for you podcasting service. And so I sent individual Viewed It videos to each person that we extended the offer to, and basically it was a personalized offer to them. I could have done a more generic video and just used that same video over and over and over again, but I was really seeing with, how do people respond to a custom video? Because, it's like anything marketers get their hands on, they ruin. But in this case, I don't see a lot of people doing this yet. So this is another way for you to differentiate yourself, be it as a salesperson or, someone who's heading up the ABM program, like doing custom videos. I know really popped, but I think that even if you didn't do custom and you just, like you said, when someone asks a question, anytime your customer asks a question, you should be answering it, having it, you can have a well-produced video, but maybe if you're not there yet, man, having a, video on Loom or BombBomb or Viewed It that you can use over and over and over again to answer that question. Even if you don't say their name, the fact that you're answering the question that they just asked you via email with a video makes them go, oh my gosh, they just recorded this video for me. And there's something to it not looking fancy and overproduced and that you just did it at your desk. I love that idea. I want to close with this, George. Video really being kind of the future of business. Talk to us about this and really why you guys are so pot committed to it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it was Citrix or somebody said, and the quote's all over the place now, that 80% of content will be viewed on the internet will be video-based content by 2019. I can tell you for the younger generation, like I look at my children and I realize quickly that they watch more online video, YouTube, all sorts of things, right, than they do TV. Like it's not even a close second. Like online video is crushing it. This is how they're growing up. This is how they're going to react when they get into high school, when they get into business. They're just going to be that way. You look at companies like HubSpot, right? They've spent a mass amount of time creating certification over certification over certification. It is not a textbook certification. It is video-based learning. You look at Wistia, video-based learning, obviously because it's video. Look at us. We created a course, contentsuccessformula.com. It's video-based. Like it's just the easiest way and the most human way, which let me just say that again. The most human way to educate in the digital space. And so companies who can say, yep, this is the way that, the market is going. And when I say market, I mean people. And we should probably get on board now before we get left behind, as well as James. And I love thinking about the future's future. Like if you're not getting good at video right now, you're going to suck at 360 video. And if you suck at 360 video, you're not even going to be able to step into the realm when virtual reality is truly a mainstream thing that you're going to have to sell and market through. And it's happening. Yeah. It's happening. Like bottom line. So video is the future. It's the footstep to what's coming next. And you've got to figure out ways to do it. Look, and I'm going to say one last thing to kind of close this out is people, they will say, well, that's fine. I want to do it, but I don't know where to get started. There's a couple things you can do to get started. Every one of your salespeople should have a video email signature that's like 30 seconds to 45 seconds. You should be going through all of your landing pages with your ebooks, your guides, your checklists. There should be a video on those landing pages. And any major product or service on your website should have a video that goes with it. And you can just keep going from there. But that's where you should start.
No, I love it. So any product or service page should have a video. Your salespeople should have email signatures that are videos, and then and then what was that other one you said? It was another asset on your website that should have video.
Yep. So your landing pages should have video on them as well. Any ebook, guide, checklist, things like that.
Love it. George, this has been fantastic insight, not from just a bunch of folks talking about it, but from guys that are actual practitioners and doing this. How can folks learn more about you and the Sales Line as well?
Yeah, definitely. So first of all, you can go over to thesalesline.com. You're going to see there's a plethora of free blog articles, tons of videos. You'll see our workshops that we do. If you want to just reach out to me personally, you can do that in two places. There's actually more, but I just don't share them. I'm on every social network. But on Twitter, at George B. Thomas, and on Facebook, Mr. George B. Thomas will get you to me.
Love it. Awesome, George. Well, thank you so much for your time today. This has been fantastic, so I really appreciate it.
James, totally had fun. Glad I had the opportunity, and continue to crush it, brother.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate it. To ensure that you never miss an episode of the B2B Growth Show, subscribe to the show on iTunes or your favorite podcast player. This guarantees that every episode will get delivered directly to your device.
If you or someone you know would be an incredible guest for the B2B Growth Show, email me at jonathan@sweetfishmedia.com and let us know. We love connecting with B2B executives, and we love sharing their wisdom and perspective with our audience.
Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.